On today's show, we will be talking about several pairs of socks as well as a new sweater cast on. Hey everyone, I'm Marina and this is Pineapple Knits. This is my channel dedicated to knitting, spinning, and weaving. You can connect with me on social media at Pineapple Yarn, and you can visit me on my website at pineappleyarn.com. Thank you so much for joining me again this week, and I'm sorry I missed you last week. I'll tell you about that in a minute, but I'm so glad that you've joined me. If this is your first time viewing this channel, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. I'm coming to you today from coastal South Carolina, where I think spring is here, finally. I think so. But I'm wearing my Beekeeper cardigan. It's a pattern by Marie Green, and it is so nice after all these years I've made it, and I still reach for it over and over because it's a great sweater. It's such a great pattern, and I love the way it fits. I knit it out of my colorway called Honeycomb, and I love it. It's such a great color. And I'm still reaching for it even in the spring. So it is a great pattern. If you haven't knit it, you might want to check it out. I'm burning my Royal Palm candle today. This is by far my favorite scent these days. And I've been burning it and really love it. It smells so much like summer and you just can't beat it. You can't beat those summer scents for when you're waiting for the warm weather to come. And on my mannequin is my 2019 Advent calendar, and it was sun and salt. That was the theme that year. And I knit the banana leaf shawl by Yuki Ueda, and it was such a great knit. I have that project, I'll link it below, and I did modify it to fit fingering weight yarn, which is what I had in my advent calendar that year. I didn't record an episode last week. At the beginning of the week, long story short, I was cooking dinner and injured my thumb. And so it doesn't sound bad, but again, I don't want to be gruesome. Let's just say I didn't need stitches, but it's healing. We're in a healing process with my thumb right now. And you know, when you have an injury or you're ill or something of that sort, you realize how much you take for granted your good health. And so that's kind of where I'm at with my poor thumb. It is healing, but it has slowed me down probably 50% because I can't use it for anything. So simple things like scanning up my yarn or packing orders, everything has slowed down by about half. And so in order to get your clubs out on time this week, I needed to cut something out last week. And unfortunately, that was updating all of you on all my projects. So that being said, I'm still moving along. I still will have a shop update this week. It's just slow. It's just slow. And when this finally heals, I will never take my thumb for granted again. I wanted to give you an update on my socks that I showed you 2 weeks ago. I knit these socks. Let's see, I think I showed you these socks. These are a one-of-a-kind colorway that I had knit up on my circular sock machine, which is an Erlbacher Gerhardt Speedster. I'm pretty sure these were finished, but I'm not sure if I put them on a sock blocker. So let me go ahead, I'll at least do one. Again, my thumb, I'm doing everything with my fingers and it's so awkward, but that's okay. We will get there. So here's what the sock looks like, and it just knit up so pretty. I really, really love this colorway. I went back to see if I had any more of this yarn because I told you if I did have some of it that I would maybe pop it in the shop if you were interested. And I do have some half skeins. So in my sock sets, I actually put half skeins of yarn paired with a mini skein a contrasting mini skein. And so what I might do is make up some sock sets if I can, dye a coordinating tonal mini to go with these, and I'll let you know about those. But these socks are finished and those will be gifted very soon. And then I had in progress, I think I had one of these socks finished. These were my Happy Fall Y'all micro skein sets that I had knit up again on my circular sock machine, and they took quite a lot longer than a yarn, I guess, knit up from one colorway. But I thought these were so, so pretty. They're just so pretty, and I love all of these colors together. When I dyed this up, obviously it was kind of an autumn theme, but I wanted to keep all of the tropical vibes that I really like. And so I used some of these really pretty like gold and, you know, deep kind of sunflower yellows and oranges. But then I put some really fun pops of like this jade green and pinks and some neutrals. And so, like I said, 2 weeks ago, I just used a colorway that I don't have in the shop anymore. It was just kind of a neutral, I don't know, mushroomy, mauve-y color, but I used that for the heels and the toes and the cuffs. And so how I calculated, and I think I talked about this again, I don't even remember, but it's so funny when you skip a week of recording. I am totally lost as to what I talked about and what I didn't, so it's kind of funny. What I did is I calculated how many stitches I usually did on the foot, and so with this sock I was using a 60 slot cylinder. Basically what that means is that I knit 60 stitches around, and that's what fits my foot the best. And so on a 60 slot cylinder I do 65 rounds after the heel and before the toe. And so that made it really easy because I knew with my colors I could do 5 colors and multiply that by 15 and that equals 65. And so what I did is I did 15 rounds of each color, and then I did the same for the legs. So I did a 65 rounds for the leg as well and used 5 colors. And so all in all, I think it turned out really, really well. I did a 20 round hung hem for the cuff and short row heel and toes. So here they are, all completed. I think they're really cute. I'm saving these for myself, to be honest, because I like them so much, and you know, I think it might be a great idea for me to knit for gifts ahead of time and to kind of have like a gift stash. But I just love these so much, and I've had a set of the Happy Fall Y'all micro skein set. I've had it set aside for myself for quite a while. So, I mean, like since this fall. And so it was about time that I knit these up into socks, and they went really well. I really, really enjoyed knitting these up. So that was fun to get those finished, and another pair of socks for myself. It may not surprise you that I have quite a bit of, I guess it's a stash, but it's kind of a pineapple yarn stash. And so I have a lot of just samples that I have dyed up that I intended to knit on my sock machine so you could see them knit up, and I have a lot of yarn. And so I went through my little stash, my big stash, whatever, and knit up a couple pairs of socks and also started a new project, which I will show you in just a minute. So the first socks, I'm going to go ahead and put them on my sock blocker here. I knit up a pair of Shortie socks for one of my daughters, and so this is what I believe it is a club colorway, but it may come as no surprise that I did not write down when it is from. And so I think it's from last year. I think it is the Glow Club, and I believe it's from maybe last summer. So June, July, around there. I probably could tell from my mood boards. So if I am super ambitious when I go to edit this, I will look up my mood boards and find it for you. But here they are. These are some Shortie socks. She found this sample and just loved it. I used it was a 50-gram skein that I had dyed this colorway up on. And so she really loves Shortie socks and wanted them. So it worked out perfectly for the amount of yarn. I believe I knit these on a 60 slot cylinder. I did a 10 row hung hem. Then I think I knit about 10 rows before I started the heel. And so in hindsight, I think she would have liked a 20 row hung hem. And so maybe I'll do that for her next time. But what I did beyond that, I think I did 65 rounds for the foot and just did my regular short row heels and toes. The one mistake I did on this, and that I also did for the next pair of socks I will show you, is I knit these up, everything was going fine. However, I miscounted my heel stitches that I left on before I did the increase, as well as the toe. And so normally I leave about 14 stitches for the base of the heel as well as the front of the toe. And I left I think I left 12 on, and it's too narrow. I really don't like the way it turned out, and it's fine, it's wearable, but I wish the heel, I guess the base of the heel as well as the toe was a little bit wider. So she will wear them, my daughter will wear them. She wears about a size, I want to say she's at like a child size 4 or women's size 6. Obviously that's US sizes, but these, I'm pretty sure these will fit her. I have not let her try them on because I wanted to show them to you first because I know once she tries these on, they're going to be done. She's going to just wear them and love them. And so yeah, I wanted to show you those. So those turned out really nice. And then I wanted to show you one more pair of socks. I have so many socks. Once I have a chance to actually sit down at my circular sock machine, which is here in the studio, I love knitting on it. It requires, for me, it requires quite a bit of concentration just because it is so easy to make a mistake. It's so easy to get the tension wrong or miscount, or I don't know what it is. I really think it might just be me. I don't know if anybody else has these issues with circular sock machines, but for me, they require complete concentration. And so, for instance, when I got the heel count wrong or the toe count, that's not surprising at all, though usually I'm pretty good at it. But anyway, so I knit these up and I was so excited to show you because I think they're so pretty. These are the Vitamin C Advent colorway from 2020. This was a kind of an add-on skein. It's a special colorway that went with my Advent calendar. And I love how they turned out. They're so, so pretty. They are just they have all these like super bright and pale neons, but then just these speckles of pink, and they have white and blue. They're just so cheerful. And I don't know if you can see, and when I go back to edit, I will put a photo in if it doesn't translate on the screen, but it's almost the way they're dyed, it's almost a self-striping with the pink and the white and the blue. So you get like these kind of orangey, pinky greens, and then interspersed with stripes of pink, white, and blue. They're so pretty. But I knit them exactly like I knit all of my other socks. I think I did a 50 round leg, which is normally what I do, and 65 row or 65 round foot, short row heels, toes. So nothing super exciting about these, except I am obsessed how they knit up. They're so pretty. So I wanted to show you those. And it's, again, I hope this isn't too awkward on camera. It's so hard holding these up and to not hurt my thumb. Because, yeah, that's where I'm at these days. But those are so pretty. And I'm not sure, I had wanted to gift these. However, because I did the heel and the toe more narrow, I don't know if I'm going to or not. I might and I might not. So we'll just see. Because especially with the toe, I feel like a heel, you can get away with a more narrow heel. But with the toe, you don't really want a super narrow toe. It just doesn't look right. And so we'll see. I mean, I will definitely wear them even if they're too narrow because I will. But anyway, I thought these were really pretty. So as you can imagine with my crafting, my crafting was limited these past 2 weeks. They were limited. I was in pain, so I didn't really feel like doing anything at night. I just wanted to kind of like rest, especially after I worked. My whole hand, I was using muscles like in my other fingers that weren't normal use of my fingers. So that really put a strain on my hand, and I was kind of, didn't really want to craft a whole lot. But I did start a new project because, you know, that's what you do. I wanted to start a new sweater for one of my girls and yeah, get it started. And so I was looking through all of my yarn, my samples, and I decided to use some of these samples that I had. And so this is what it kind of came out. And I'm going to show you the back so you can really see what I did on that. But I think that is the most gorgeous pastel fade ever. I think it is turning out so gorgeous. The pattern is just a very simple raglan. Of course, the pattern itself escapes me right now. I'll definitely put it on the screen, but it's just a really basic raglan. So what I did is I cast on about 5 more stitches than what was called for. And I'm going to steek it and make a cardigan out of it. Isn't that pretty? That's going to be for my 7-year-old, and she is, as many 7-year-olds are, just, she's very girly. She's going to love this so much. And so a lot of these colorways are from my clubs, which is so fun to knit these up. I know I have some of my Sun Club. I had like a mint green club that's up here, as well as some of my glow clubs. I have a couple different colorways as well in here. So these are all clubs. I know I have Mojito from last March. That's one of the greens in here. The Sun Club, maybe from last March. I know it was a mint green. That's in here. And what else do I have? I have a couple of glow clubs. This in here is Little Paper Umbrellas, which is a colorway in my shop. I also have Hazy Sunrise, which is further down here, like right in here. This is Hazy Sunrise. It's like a pastel, multi-colored skein. But other than that, it's all clubs. So isn't that fun? That's really, you know, there's those of us, me included, who don't like having a large stash. But this is definitely one case in which it's nice to have some yarn and some different colors to choose from, because you can make like a really pretty fade like this. But I will be popping a couple photos up on the screen to show you my process. I basically laid all of the yarn next to each other and kind of played around with it. And that's kind of how I get to it. I mean, sometimes I have to eliminate yarn as I go because it's just not in the feel of what I'm knitting up, but I'm almost to the hem at this point. And my next color is going to be kind of a bright yellow. And actually, I'm gonna go ahead and show it to you. So this is the next color, and it looks like it's not going to match, but it will, and I'll tell you why. Actually, I shouldn't say that because that is so overconfident, and watch, next week I'll come back and say I didn't use the yellow, because that will happen. But what I'm doing with all of these yarns is I am using a fingering weight held double, and that gives me about a DK weight. And if you numbered the yarns, you know, 1 through 9, say, I am holding numbers 1 and 2 double and knitting with those, and then after I reach about 2 inches, I am breaking off the yarn, and then I'm adding number 3, and so then I'm knitting with number 2 and 3 together, and then 3 and 4, 4 and 5, 5 and 6, and so on. And so these are it's kind of a marled fade, and that's where you get these really smooth transitions, and everything just works really well together. It also helps that it's all kind of they're pale colors. And so, yeah, the reason I am doing 2 inches is because on the pattern, I knew I was going to get gauge. I measured the length from the back neck to the hem and how long it was going to be, measured out how much yarn I wanted to use, and just divided that and came up with about 2 inches per color. And so, yeah, I think it's turning out really, really pretty. I think it'll be a really pretty cardigan when it is finished. And, you know, as far as like the actual trim and neckband and button band and all that, I'm not really sure what color I'm going to do. I could do an undyed color. I might do just like a soft, like the color Pale Peach that's in my shop right now. It's a tonal, and I might do that and maybe I'll use like just a straight DK and not a fingering weight held double on that, because I did knit a sweater like that before where I held 2 strands of fingering weight together to make a DK, and then added the neckband and the cuffs and everything in a tonal DK weight, and it turned out awesome. So anyway, just wanted to share that new project with you, and fortunately I'm able to knit some even with the injury to my hand, and maybe not as fast as I normally would, but that's pretty good for 2 weeks of knitting. So yeah, so I'm really enjoying that, and we'll just see how the progress continues to go in the next couple of weeks. Unfortunately, I did not do a whole lot of spinning this week. I did a little bit of spinning before the thumb injury, but it was one of those spinning times which I don't have often anymore. It was one of those times where you sit down and it's just not working out. And I don't know if you've had any of those times where you go to knit, maybe start a new project or you start a new spin, and it's just not happening. It's not really what you wanted. And so I just hung it up. I figured which is odd because usually when I've been spinning, I've been having great success. It's been really nice to spin, but this time around I tried a fiber. It actually was my last Hedgehog Fibers monthly club fiber, And it has a fairly high amount of silk in it, and I really don't like to spin silk at all. I really don't care for silk. And so I did it anyway. I tried to spin it, tried several different ways, and it's such beautiful fiber. But I just wasn't receiving good results with it. And so I decided to set it aside. Maybe I'll try it again someday. And I kind of feel like that's how things go. Interests and skill levels fluctuate. And so someday maybe I'll be really into silk and I'll try it again, hopefully, because it's beautiful fiber. So not a whole lot of spinning progress on this front, but I did start a new weaving project. I had dyed up a mini skein set called Moody Peacock, and it is totally different from what I normally do. It was a whole bunch of different like deep jewel tone colors on mini skeins, and so I did save a set for myself and I used that as my warp. And then I pulled out a skein of mohair silk, my Noe mohair silk base. And it was a color that I don't carry in the shop anymore. I do have one skein left that I might pop in the shop if anybody's interested. But it is called Pale Mauve, and it is so beautiful against these mini skeins. And so I will put some photos in here because obviously I can't show you on my loom. I'm not going to pick my loom up, but I have a Kromsky 32-inch harp loom. It's a rigid heddle loom. I used my 8 ends per inch heddle, and so it is a very airy, lofty scarf. And so what I did is I used the Weevolution calculator. It's on weevolution.com. I will leave a link below. It is such a great resource for figuring out weaving projects. And so what I did, I entered all of my info from my mini skein set into the calculator, figured out how many ends per inch I would need, figured out how many, I guess, ends per color per mini skein that I would need. I think I ended up with about 28 ends and about maybe like 115 inches long. And I'll put all the details below. But yeah, it is so beautiful and it's turning out really pretty. The mohair I'm using is the weft. And so I am weaving but not beading really tightly. I'm just beading with a little gap in the middle of each row, so it kind of echoes the spacing of the fingering weight yarn as well. And it's turning out so pretty. I wanted to give this as a birthday gift. I don't know if I'm going to be done in time because that's kind of how things are going right now, but it is turning out so pretty. I don't know if it's going to work out. I don't know if this project's going to work out because it is so lightweight and there's so much air in between each strand. I don't know. I mean, usually with a fingering weight yarn, I would use like a 12.5 ends per inch heddle. It's just closer spacing, so you get like a tighter fabric. And maybe the 8 ends per inch, I would use a DK weight yarn for that. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see if it works out, and I'll definitely let you know. But I'm able to work on that somewhat with my hand. It's still a little awkward, but I might try that again now that it's had a little bit of time to heal, a little more time. I haven't worked on it in a few days. So that's what's going on in my crafting life, and I am enjoying all those projects except for the spinning. So spinning is going to have to wait. I can't spin with my hand right now anyway, so it's got to wait. But everything else is going awesome and I'm having so much fun. I wanted to let you know before I leave you that I will be having a shop update this Friday, March 12th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time at pineappleyarn.com. I will have several, I think 4 tonals and lots of colorways, and so there's gonna be tons to choose from. I will be filming a shop update preview after this if you want to check it out and see what I'll have in the shop. But I have some really pretty spring tonals, as well as my Cook Pine. It's a deep pine green tonal, which I don't normally have in the shop. It's very labor intensive to dye, but I will have some of that, so that's really exciting. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you like the podcast, I would love if you'd give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I will be back next week with another episode. Please check out the shop update after this, and I hope you're having so much fun with your crafting. I hope you have an awesome day. Bye.